How much do I make as a paramedic ACP in the UK? I've heard comments such as, ACPs make £65,000 a year, and you make triple your wage as an ACP, but I have also heard the rumours of, it's barely a noticeable difference, and it's not worth the training. Well, today I'm giving you my exact figures from 2 pay slips over the last few months, and talking through my real 2025 to 2026 pay, my enhancements, my deductions, and my actual take-home pay as a full-time paramedic ACP. So no fluff, just the truth. Let's break the myth and offer some clarity from the source. Now, this channel is all about how to save, invest, and create wealth as an average employee in the UK, mainly based around the NHS. If you find any of this appealing, then please click subscribe, and I will pass on every tool that I have used to get you ahead financially. If you are an ACP or thinking of moving in that direction, or even if you are just nosy, then this is the video for you. So sit back, relax, and let's dive in. So what is an ACP? An ACP is a short form of the title Advanced Clinical Practitioner. This is a relatively new role in the health service that acts as the progression from healthcare roles such as nurses, paramedics, and midwives. ACPs are autonomous practitioners, responsible for assessing, diagnosing, and managing patient care, often performing tasks that were traditionally reserved for doctors, such as interpreting diagnostic tests and managing treatment plans. The title itself is not protected, however it is likely to be in the future, and will be confined to registered clinicians trained at master's degree level and above. Now, I am an ACP from a paramedic background, which means that to get to my current role, I did my undergraduate training, NQP phase, and then my master's degree with independent prescribing. So now, we are all clear on what an ACP is. Let's talk about income. I will start by saying that this is my personal income, and the role can vary throughout jobs. Some ACPs work in the NHS, while some work privately. Some work in clinician positions, while others work in research fields. Not all roles are the exact same, but are within a similar boundary. I am new to the role and work in a GP surgery, running a clinic in which I see many patients. I do this role for 37.5 hours a week, and I occasionally pick up extra work over the weekend if I feel like it. Now, this means that I do not strictly follow Agenda for Change, and I no longer do nights. When we come on to discussing deductions later in the video, you will also notice that I don't pay student loan. This is because I never had one, and I will make a video on why this is in the future. My UK basic salary as a new ACP is £55,688 a year before adding any enhancements. This is around £4,641 a month, or £28.48 an hour. Now answer me truthfully, is this more or less than you were expecting? Most ACP roles in the UK sit in the Band 7 or Band 8 pay scales. I sit at the bottom of 8A. This is because I am very new, and pay progression often comes with role experience. For reference, on screen now shows the Agenda for Change pay scales that would commonly be seen for ACP roles. You'll notice that wages can vary largely over time. So, now let's talk about my healthcare job enhancements, overtime wage and private income. As a new paramedic ACP, my overtime rate in sociable time is £36 an hour. My unsociable rate is £43 an hour, and my private work rate is £54 an hour. I often do around 5 hours sociably each month by accident, and then I pick up additional unsociable or private work if I feel like it. Usually this means that my monthly income is increased substantially. For example, last month I claimed my usual OT, and I also did a few additional clinics to help out with seasonal flu vaccinations. This consisted of a few hours in the mornings of each Saturday. With these small changes, I made an additional £913 on top of my basic monthly salary. Realistically, the most I ever do is a few hours on each Saturday privately to support other practices. This usually gives me an additional £1,307 a month on top of base. I personally don't think it's really worth doing more than that, without affecting my daily life, Also, tax starts becoming killer. The only other enhancement that I get is mileage, which is 45 pence a mile. With all of that being said, my ACP enhancements give me between £295 and £1,415 each month. Now we have discussed basic income and enhancements, let's talk gross income, deductions, and take home. As a new paramedic ACP in primary care, I make between £59,000 and £73,000 a year. Now that we have broken down exactly how I do this, let's talk about deductions. The most important deduction of the payslip is NHS pension. Now for my wage, I pay 10.7% of my basic salary before enhancements. This equates to around £497 each month and comes out before tax. Now that sounds like a lot, but I always want to highlight how important this asset is to healthcare workers. I will do an entire video about the long-term outcomes of the NHS pension, including lump sum amounts and income equivalents, but for now, I would just say that it is one of the biggest wealth builders for NHS workers. The total employer contribution is 23.7%, which means I put in £497, but I actually gain an additional £1,100 without lifting a finger, putting £1,597 in my pension every month. Quick note, for those who have looked at their payslip and it doesn't show 23.7% in the employer pension section, this is because usually 14.38% is paid directly through payroll, and then the remaining 9.4% is paid by NHS England or the relevant government department. Now the other deductions are the same as everyone else: income tax and national insurance. This is slightly variable for me due to enhancements, but it tends to sit around £642 and £263 respectively, though obviously this is much higher when I have more enhancements, and often goes up above £800 and £280. I do not have a student loan, so this is not a deduction. I will upload a full video on how I have managed to get a full undergrad and master's degree with additional training for free in the future. Let's talk take home pay as a new paramedic ACP in the UK. After the deductions subtracted from the original totals that we have discussed, I am left with between £3,470 and £4,240 each month take home, or between £41,600 and £50,900 a year, which ends up in my bank account. If we also add up the pension contributions between me and the organisation, it means that we put £19,164 per year into my NHS pension. Now I would highlight again that the wide range of my pay comes from either doing the bare minimum at the lower end or doing the full Monty at the top end, which includes some private work and is 43 hours a week. In reality, I only work 37.5 hours and do 1 or 2 extra clinics each month, so my income probably sits somewhere in the middle of the range. So let's have a think about if it's worth it or not. The average UK Paramedic Basic Salary is between £31,000 and £46,580. This is from the bottom of Band 5, which is usually confined to newly qualified staff, and ranges up to the top of Band 6. There are also some clinicians that progress into more senior Band 7 roles, which can go up to around £54,700. Very few go any higher without significantly more training. On the other hand, the average ACP basic income is between £47,800 and £62,700 from the bottom of 7 to the top of 8A. I would highlight that ACPs don't usually get Band 7 pay unless they are still in training. For example, I have only just qualified and my basic income is around £55,700. Some ACPs also go into the 8B band, which pays up to £74,900 a year. Now, I won't go too in depth because there are many variables between the roles, such as overtime and night shifts, that swing the balance in both directions. I will show all relevant bands on screen now to get an idea of the basic income before any enhancements that these roles make. The ACP job is difficult in a similar way to other healthcare roles. It requires hard work, responsibility, and constant learning to stay with ever-changing guidelines. When I look back to my time as a paramedic, I feel that it was one of the best things I ever did, and being an ACP is simply a different kind of experience. I would personally say that the transition has been worth it, but everyone is different, and what works for me may not work for others. I hope that you have found this video useful and informative. This truly is the most honest that I can be about my income, and I would like to think that it will help others make their decision about whether to move into the ACP field or not. As stated before, all roles are different, and what my finances look like will not be the same across the board. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit the like button below and subscribe for more content about saving, investing and building wealth as a UK employee. I hope we cross paths again, and I wish you all the best for your future.